Good evening and welcome to News9. I'm Nolan Pinto. We have some big news coming in now. Murder accused fined 1 lakh rupees for filing false case. In fact, a murder accused fined 1 lakh rupees for filing a false case. High Court bench slaps 1 lakh fine on murder accused. Usha Rani had registered a missing case at Micro Layout Police Station. She had also invoked her habeas corpus, stating her husband was missing. Investigations prove she had murdered her husband along with 2 other men. In fact, this is the big news that we're now tracking. A murder accused fined 1 lakh rupees for filing false case. High Court bench slaps 1 lakh rupees fine on murder accused Usha Rani. Usha Rani had registered a missing case at Micro Layout Police Station. She had also invoked habeas corpus, stating her husband was missing. Investigations, however, proved she had murdered her husband along with 2 other men. In fact, her husband was named Muni Raju. Usha Rani and 2 youth had murdered him. They strangled him to death. They then burned his body near Hoskote. In fact, the husband was named Muni Raju. Usha Rani and 2 other youth had murdered him. They strangled him to death and then burned his body near Hoskote. Well, moving on, a resident of Kuruchi village of Puttinahalli Taluk in Chikkodi was beaten black and blue for allegedly attempting to rape a school teacher this morning.
पैकेट दे देने क्या नहीं राड के किसके पैकार होते हैं
ये सही रे मिली से मारने से बस ना से भीड़ में टकरा के ले बाला है तो इज्जत है जिसका की हिड़े को इज्जत के साथ ही करे सुअर आता मोटा आता कर लेता का जाता ही रहेगा हो से तू बड़े होगा क्या करे हमारा ना बेच को खाई कौन है पहला बाप ही ढेला के रखे तू रखने की बात भैंस का बाप बेटा सारा बाप सुअर है बेटा पेपर में जाने लगा कर दे फोटो कर काट दूं बिना नहीं है वीडियो में क्या वीडियो का दो दोगा
In fact, for more on this, I'm joined by my colleague Akshita. Akshita, can you give us more information on what this youth did?
Right, Nolan, what we do understand is that this particular youngster identified as Jafar was in love with a woman, and now it is understood that time and again he approached her and expressed his feelings for her. However, the woman was already married. She even had 2 children, and so she of course rejected his advances for obvious reasons. Now clearly he didn't take the rejection too well. This morning he entered her house and tried to rape her, Nolan. Now the woman, for obvious reasons, started screaming and calling out for help, which is when the residents around, her neighbors, did in fact hear the commotion and barged into the house and caught him red-handed attempting to rape this poor woman. Soon after is when we saw all that chaos taking place, wherein KRV activists were seen beating Jafar up, women thrashing him with slippers and brooms, and finally they also, of course, shaved his head, tonsured his head, and took him on a procession all around the village before finally handing him over to the cops. So, of course, the residents are ensuring that they give the right treatment to this particular youngster who went ahead and attempted to rape a teacher who was already married. So, for obvious reasons, she rejected him, Nolan, but clearly the rejection did not go down too well with him.
Now, Akshita, he doesn't look too old. Do we know how old is he? What's his age?
Well, Nolan, there's no word on his age as of now. We do know that he is pretty young. He is a youngster, and almost seems like an infatuation of sorts, where he fell in love with a teacher. Now, we have to keep in mind that she was already married. She even had 2 children, so it definitely seems like this particular youngster was in way over his head here, considering, of course, that he did know she was married. He even knew she had children, but continued to profess his love for her. And this is definitely shocking that he would even expect that this particular woman would reciprocate his feelings. But clearly not too happy with the rejection, feeling shunned, he went on to force himself on her. We understand that this morning he barged into her house, in fact, and tried to rape her. And it is when the woman started screaming that residents came in and saw Jaffer going ahead and committing such a heinous act. And that is why there was so much anger that spilled out on the streets, wherein these people were seen going ahead and bashing him up. They were KRB activists as well as women who went ahead and thrashed him with slippers as well as brooms, after which they paraded him around and finally handed him over to the cops. A grave charge against him, Nolan. He will be booked for attempt to rape, and it is very unfortunate because he is relatively young. He is a youngster, but clearly there is 1 second of lack of clear-mindedness led to this particular incident, and he seems to be paying for the same, Nolan.
Right, Akshita, thank you very much for all those details. Now, Bengaluru police have successfully managed to capture members of the nefarious underworld gang headed by Kunigal Giri. Now, however, Kunigal Giri, who himself is wanted in over 70 cases, registered in over 30 police stations in Karnataka, managed to give the cops a slip. Members of the criminal gang too were wanted in a multitude of cases, including robbery and assault. In fact, an underworld gang has been caught by the Bengaluru police. The leader of the gang is Kunigal Giri. He had boys from Magadi and Bengaluru in his gang. Now, these guys, or these gang members, operated in and around Bengaluru. A special team was formed by the Bengaluru police in order to nab them. The team was led by DCP Abhishek Goyal. There were 3 other inspectors in the team. Now, those arrested have been named. They are Krishna, Rangegowda, Ravi, also known as Gunda, Kunigal Giri, Govind Bharat, Jagdish and Srinivas.
ಕಿರಣ್ ಸಬ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಇವರೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಸೇರಿಕೊಂಡು ಇದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಬಹಳ ಕಷ್ಟಪಟ್ಟು ಈ ಒಂದು ತಂಡ ಯಾವುದಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಕಂಡು ಹಿಡಿದು ಅವರ ತಂಡದ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಸದಸ್ಯರಿಗೆ ವಶಪಡಿಸಿಕೊಳ್ಳೋದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಯಶಸ್ವಿ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಬಹಳ ಕಷ್ಟಪಟ್ಟು ಈ ಒಂದು ತಂಡ ಯಾವುದಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಕಂಡು ಹಿಡಿದು ಅವರ ತಂಡದ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಸದಸ್ಯರಿಗೆ ವಶಪಡಿಸಿಕೊಳ್ಳೋದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಯಶಸ್ವಿ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. 16/4/2014 ಒಂದು ಖಚಿತ ಮಾಹಿತಿ ಬಂದ ಆಧಾರದ ಮೇಲೆ ಕುಣಿಗಲ್ ಗಿರಿ ಮತ್ತು ಗೋವಿಂದ್, ಭರತ್, ಜಗದೀಶ್, ಶ್ರೀನಿವಾಸ್ ಅಲಿಯಾಸ್ ವಾಸು, ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಮತ್ತು ಇನ್ನೂ ಕೆಲವರು ಹೊಸಕೆರೆಹಳ್ಳಿ ಮುಖ್ಯ ರಸ್ತೆ ದೇವೇಗೌಡ ಸರ್ಕಲ್ ಬಳಿ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ವೆಂಕಟೇಶ್ವರ ರಿಕ್ರಿಯೇಷನ್ ಕ್ಲಬ್ಗೆ ನುಗ್ಗಿ ದರೋಡೆ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಅಂತ ಮಾಹಿತಿ ಬಂದಿತ್ತು. ಆವಾಗ ದಾಳಿ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಕೆಲವರು ಓಡ್ ಹೋಗಿದ್ರು. ಅದರೊಳಗೆ ಅವರ ಈಗಾದರೂ ಇನ್ನೂ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ ಅವನು ಮುಖ್ಯಸ್ಥ ಕುಣಿಗಲ್ ಗಿರಿ ಅಂತ. ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ PC 10987 ನವೀನ್ ಕುಮಾರ್ ಇವರಿಗೆ ಕೂಡ ಅಟ್ಯಾಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಹೆದರಿಸಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಫರಾರಿಯಾಗಿದ್ರು.
In fact, Raghavendra Auradkar there, Commissioner Bangalore Police, stating that Kunigal Giri managed to give the cops a slip. Now, he has a total of 70 cases lodged against him in more than 30 police stations. However, a lot of his gang members have been caught. Now, these are youth recruited from Magadi and Bengaluru.